Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I hope your day is going great. Mine's been real smooth, and today we have an interesting video. We got a lot of different things to talk about, some news, some funny things. So somebody commented on one of my videos a couple days ago, and he said that Japanese players can't join the Overwatch League due to some gambling laws in Japan. And this comment got a lot of attention, and it seemed like everybody wanted me to talk about it. So we're going to dive a little bit into that topic. It's pretty interesting. It's not exactly that Japanese players can't join the Overwatch League. It's just that there's these specific laws in Japan that kind of prevent esports from growing. We'll get more detailed into it at the beginning of the video. And then second, we're talking about the Spanish World Cup team. So they're in a situation where they're not going to have a head coach for the World Cup because apparently Blizzard won't let them get a replacement, and Harryhook called out Blizzard on this. It's pretty juicy, guys. We're going to cover the whole entire situation as well. Also, guys, Sinatraa, he got caught throwing. No, he didn't actually get caught throwing. Some of you guys might have got clickbaited. My bad, you know it is what it is. Anyways, so a couple of days ago, I did report on this that Sinatraa was going to throw the first pitch at an athletics game, which is a professional baseball team. And well, he went ahead and did that, and there was a picture that got posted all over of him throwing the ball, and his form looked really damn good. So everybody was like really surprised and wondering if he played baseball before and if we could see the actual footage of the throw. And well, actual footage of the throw is out now, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys that. And today, guys, Jane's 1v1 Widowmaker tournament finally happened. It was really exciting to watch. There wasn't like these huge names, but there was a lot of contenders talent, some streamers, and it was definitely cool. We're going to cover which players went far, who won the tournament, and if there will maybe be another one. As well as that, we're going to be talking a little bit about the match tonight between Russia and South Korea, because there's actually a lot of implications on this match. If Russia can somehow pull it out, they will then potentially force a crazy tie between the top three teams, Finland, South Korea, and Russia. And honestly, after the match yesterday between Finland and Russia, it looks like it is possible. Maybe Russia can pull up an upset here. Finland almost did it. If Russia comes out and can clutch up, which they weren't able to do yesterday, there's a chance. So we're going to cover all of these really cool things. If you guys are new around here, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to my channel for more daily Overwatch League, Overwatch World Cup news. I make videos every single day, multiple a day, so don't miss out on those. And now without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into this Japanese situation. So somebody on my channel named Brian Zoo commented this: "Can you make a video on why Japanese players can't play in Overwatch League because of gambling law? I think more people need to know about this because the Japanese World Cup team ain't half bad." And as I said, this got a lot of attention, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, really? What the hell? Why can't Japanese players join the Overwatch League? So of course, I jumped on Google, I tried to do some research, and quickly I found out that there are actually some laws that prevent gambling in Japan, and it involves eSports tournaments. And these gambling laws are really weird because there still are some casinos in Japan, and Japan, like the government, actually hosts like a lottery, which is literally straight up gambling. But for esports, game developers like Blizzard, they wouldn't be able to go to Japan, host a tournament for more than $890 USD. That's literally the cap, $890, guys. Not even just for first place, overall for the entire tournament. So now I can see why there are no good Japanese players in the Overwatch League or just in many of the esports across the world. The only esport I can think of where I can remember a lot of Japanese players is fighting games, which there is a lot of good Japanese players in fighting games, and they actually win like world championships. So the potential of Japanese people being good at esports is pretty high. They just have to get out of Japan and compete somewhere else, like in the USA. And that's exactly what a lot of these Japanese players for fighting games have done. There's no way they would be this good just competing in their own region, which I wouldn't want to do. I wouldn't want to have to leave USA and go to Taiwan or South Korea to compete in esports because my country won't allow it, pretty much. That would suck. Anyways, besides these fighting games, I can't think of any other big esports titles that have a lot of Japanese players, or just really any in them. League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Overwatch, Dota, just none come to mind. And it makes sense now, because if you live in Japan, you can't really compete as a pro player and make any money. It's not a viable route. Say when you're in Korea, as a little kid, there's potential for you to make a ton of money if you can win some tournaments. Winning tournaments in Japan is absolutely nothing but like bragging rights. Now, this doesn't exactly like 100% prevent these Japanese players from joining the Overwatch League. It just stops them from being able to compete at a high level in their own country. So it's kind of just like a shitty roadblock for them. Esports is just completely underdeveloped in Japan. And if any Japanese teams or players want to take competitive or professional gaming seriously, The best thing they could do, in my opinion, is probably go down to South Korea, try to compete in some tournaments there, and possibly move their way up. But like the culture of professional gaming, esports in general in Japan just isn't that great because of these rules. There is some good news apparently though. Bloomberg did a report about 6 months ago in February saying that these laws have been changed and you can now play esports for money in Japan. I don't really see any other reports on this, but Bloomberg is a big name, so I'm going to assume it's actually true. There was apparently a $300,000 tournament held by Sony for games like Call of Duty, Street Fighter, Tekken, Puzzle and Dragons, Monster Strike. And this was like the first event of its kind, and now they're like trying to catch up in esports because it's such a big market. And the government of Japan is actually starting to realize that it can help their economy. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. Look at South Korea. It's probably done so much for them. So it's a weird situation. I guess now they're just really far behind and they're going to try to catch up. Maybe they can try to catch up. Some of the Japanese players on the World Cup roster are pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Last year they were pretty impressive. They did beat Finland. This year, they can't beat Finland this time around, but they're still doing okay. They won a round on control against Korea, that's something. They got 4-0'd, but it was kind of close. They didn't get completely stomped. I'm not sure if any of the players specifically are ready for the Overwatch League, maybe a couple more steps, some practice to get there, but there's potential for sure. And all you need is one really good player on that roster to get a trial for an Overwatch League team and for him to prove himself. I can definitely see some of them at a contenders level, maybe not like Korean contenders obviously, but like Pacific, Oceanic, maybe even North America contenders. They could compete with those teams. We actually have seen a couple Japanese rosters go and play in the Pacific Division. They didn't really get far any of the seasons, but they were there. They were sort of competitive. With some practice and more regionalization in Japan, they could be pretty good. That's pretty much it for this whole Japan situation. It was a big deal, but it seems like the Japanese government is taking steps to help esports grow in their country, and hopefully it can progress fast. Be sure to let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this whole situation, and now let's go ahead and move on and talk about the Spanish World Cup team, because they're kind of in a crappy situation right now, and I do feel really bad. So Harryhook posted this on Twitter. Well, it looks like this year the Spanish World Cup team won't have a head coach. Our head coach can't go to the event, and Blizzard doesn't allow us to get somebody else to help us out. Honestly, this is pretty disappointing, as if, example, the US team can't get a head coach to the event, I'm sure they would get a substitute. Hope this situation gets fixed as soon as possible. Harryhook. So I don't know exactly what's going on with the head coach of Spain. Just maybe sick, maybe doesn't want to go, I don't know. There's a situation where the head coach can't make it, maybe visa issues, whatever it is, Blizzard is not allowing them to get a replacement, which is absolutely ridiculous. I have no idea why they would do this, and Harryhook is right. If for some reason Aero couldn't make it to the USA World Cup group stage, they would literally allow them to get another head coach. There's no way they would force them to play without it. So it seems super unfair. Yeah, Spain, maybe they won't make it out of the group, so maybe they don't look like the best team, but they just lost Neptuno. Now they're going to lose a head coach. Really unfair. Blizzard needs to figure this situation out and help them get a new head coach. Anyways, that's the situation with Spain. Very unfortunate. Blizzard, they definitely will do something. There's no way they let this go public and don't do anything about it. That would make them look really crappy. Anyways, now let's go ahead and move on and talk a bit about Sinatraa. So as I said earlier, he did throw the first pitch at an athletics game. Here's the picture that everybody was looking at and was like, wow, it looks like he's a freaking MLB pitcher. And it turns out Sinatraa actually has varsity baseball experience from his high school days. So of course that's going to help him out throwing a pitch at a baseball game. And let's go ahead and play the video now. Take a look at it. Yeah, as Sinatraa said, that wasn't bad. First time throwing in 2 years. Hey, you can throw better than me. I never played baseball in my life. I'm sure most of you guys haven't, so. Well, actually, maybe some of you guys have. Honestly, I have no idea. Anyways, that was a really good throw by Sinatraa. Good for him. As I said in my last video when I talked about this, it's really cool seeing these professional players being recognized by actual athletes. Well, I know, I guess esports players are considered athletes now, but just like seeing Sinatraa throw the first pitch at an MLB game, it's so sick. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on now and talk about Jane's Widowmaker tournament. So the format of Jane's Widowmaker tournament was actually very different compared to the All-Stars one. So he had a total of 48 players. He did 4 different lobbies with 12 players, and this was the first round, and the top 6 from each of these rounds would move on to the semifinals. I'm probably going to butcher some of these names, but in the first qualifier, we saw Zeroicious, Reach, Jesus, Junkyard Boy, Beef Tipsy, and Kite move on. In the second qualifier, we saw Codebreaker, Danye, Kabaji, Casper, Kevster, and EPZZ. In the third qualifier, we saw Lefa, Boostio, Shadows, Ben, Effie Ninja, and Shane move on. Yeah, Shane the main tank was in this tournament, and he did move on. And then in the fourth qualifier, we saw Far, Midnight, Akadia, Carter, K-Slaya, and Hazard move on. So this brought us to our 2 semifinals matchups. The top 2 of each semifinal would move on to the finals. In the first semifinal, Kevster and Beef Tipsy won. In the second semifinal, Shadows and Far moved on. And I guess this was called the first finals with 4 players. It was Kevster, Far, and Beef Tipsy. Shadows didn't have that great of a game. He only had 20 kills compared to everybody else's 40 to 50. So he got bounced out of that round, and that left the second and third place players, Far and Beef Tipsy, to fight for the final round against Kevster. And Far ended up winning, and we had the final round, Far 1v1 versus Kevster, and Far won 25 to 23. So for those of you guys who don't know who Far is, he plays for Sky Foxes in North American Contenders. And if you don't know who Kevster is, he's pretty good as well. He played in Contenders last season and was on last night's Leftovers. It was an interesting tournament. You guys can see from the footage here, it was pretty fun to watch. Jane's casting was good. I definitely think it was a success, and I'm wondering if Jane is willing to host another tournament. Maybe seeing 1v1 tracers would be really exciting, and getting XQC in there or something. Hanzo would be cool. Reinhardt would be funny. There's a bunch of heroes that could be played in 1v1s. Winston would be even hilarious to watch. So we'll keep an eye on Jane and see if he has anything he wants to do for another tournament. Now let's go ahead and move on. Alright guys, and now lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about Russia versus South Korea, because this is going to be a really good match if I had to guess. Both Russia and South Korea both had an incredibly nail-biting matchup against Finland. And I know just because South Korea and Russia had a good match against Finland doesn't mean that they will have an amazing match. But, you know, it kind of does. It might not correlate completely, but there is a decent chance that these two are going to be very close tonight. And if they can somehow be as exciting as those Finland matches were, then I will be super excited. But what I really want to do here is take a look at the actual standings, because right now South Korea is sitting in first place at 4-0-0. Russia's in second place at 2-1-0, and then Finland is in third place at 2-1-0. The reason why Russia is ahead of Finland is because they have lost less maps than Finland. So Russia has 8 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. Finland has 8 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. So there is a situation where Russia could lose 2-3 to South Korea and still keep the map lead over Finland and move on. They could also even beat South Korea, putting them at 3-1, putting South Korea at 3-1, and then Finland also at 3-1, and there could be some crazy tie, which is possible. I do think South Korea is going to win though. And like I said, even if Russia does lose, there is a chance they're still ahead of Finland. There's a lot of games to be played tonight, and every team needs to show up if they want to move on to BlizzCon. But that's pretty much it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like on the video. If you like the daily news that I offer you guys for Overwatch World Cup and the Overwatch League, be sure to subscribe for my channel. And that's going to be it, guys. Thank you for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.